Great to welcome you guys to another episode of the Basin podcast. Excited. We've really covered a lot of good topics. The last time we talked about, we've talked about a lot friendship, and we're still on the alignment of friendship. We talked about vulnerability. We talked about
you being my
bubble.
Best friend or being my close friend.
Oh, that's an interesting one. Best
and all
friend.
The challenge.
It's funny. That has a lot of feedbacks, but now we want to talk about a very different topic, but still aligns with friends, and we see how that intertwine is introvert, extrovert. And one thing you mentioned is how many people that we meet these days
are claiming
to be introverts. So I don't know if it was the pandemic period. There was a time being an introvert was an insult.
I know.
So when they tell you an introvert, it's more like a place of you need to be outgoing more. You need to be out there. But suddenly it feels like we're an era.
It's cool to be an introvert now.
Everybody's cool.
Everybody and their mama is an introvert.
I was in an event. There was like 7 of us on the table, 7 or 6 of us. And then they said, everybody come out if you are an introvert or an extrovert. And everybody on the table claimed to be an introvert.
That is
And I was the only one that was like, I am extrovert and I do not apologize for it.
I know.
And of course, my extrovertedness has some introverted nature too. It's not like I'm always...
No, you're fully extrovert and I love it.
Which is okay.
Babe, you're fully extrovert and I love it.
At times I need to be by myself.
But that doesn't mean you're an introvert.
That doesn't make me an introvert.
Yeah.
But it's just the level of the fact that majority of people these days do not fully understand what an introvert is.
They do not.
And there's also a confusion about, another confusion people have is being shy and being an introvert. Your shyness is not equivalent to being an introvert. So suddenly everybody's cool. You're part of the cool people now, babe. You're like an introvert.
It's
Everyone's
so
like,
weird.
EJ is awesome. EJ is an
It's
introvert.
so weird. When I was in high school, I remember it was like a bad thing. It was like, oh, she's an introvert. Introverts were the one being bullied because they were to themselves. They were like weirdos. Yeah. And now it's like everybody's an introvert. You see someone with the most bubbly personality. They want to go everywhere. They want to be the life of the party. They get energy from being around people, and they're like, you know what? But I'm actually an introvert. I'm like,
do you really?
Have you seen yourself today?
No, it's amazing. No, the people who are like very, they love to engage. They're interactive, and suddenly they're like, I'm an introvert. It's like we have friends who are very social. They host the party. They love to host it, and they're like, I'm more of an introvert actually. And now he's making me think, who is an extrovert?
Everybody.
At this point. So I was thinking, I was going to say COVID, but even before COVID,
it's been a thing lately.
There was a sense of people moving more into introvertedness. And it looks like our culture is becoming more welcoming of you being an introvert, and being an extrovert on the other side is becoming an insult.
You just triggered a thought in my mind, and I don't want to pivot this. I feel like when something becomes more welcoming and being accepted and being affirmed, everyone wants to say, that's who I am.
Towards that.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is suddenly cool. I am this too. Oh, this is, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I can give you so many examples, but I don't want to skew the conversation. I think what is causing the rise of introverts is because it's now accepted. There was a time, 2 decades ago, where it was not accepted. Everyone is an extrovert.
So now you're saying something that is making me interested. So it looks like a change of culture is impacting the perception. So now, because when you're extrovert, it comes with a lot of elements that, first of all, we would think maybe this person talks too much. Mm-hmm. Maybe the person is all over the place. Yeah. You're an extrovert. You don't know how to
or you're allowed
to control yourself. Yeah. Which is not true.
It's not true.
You're an extrovert doesn't make you less matured. Doesn't mean that you're an extrovert means you're all over the place.
It doesn't mean you are not thoughtful.
Extrovertedness comes from your source of inspiration and energy.
Your source of energy. You just hit the nail on the head. And I was going to say, let's say it. being an introvert or an extrovert, I believe, and we can also research this. I've read about it as well. Being an introvert is highly dependent on how do you gain your energy. There are people who get energized by being around people. By being surrounded by people, you get energized.
You love being
around people because when you're there, you feel alive. Those people are typically extroverts.
Being quiet, but you can be quiet and be around people. So does that make you an extrovert?
You can be a quiet person, but you get energy by being around people. That doesn't make you an introvert. You're still an extrovert.
You might be a quiet extrovert.
You're a quiet extrovert.
You're still an extrovert.
You love to be outside. You love to be around people. Introvert.
You love to take a walk because you get to see people, you get to interact with people, and you want to have your dog because you want to meet people.
You want your energy, you want your life. You need that.
There, you're an extrovert.
You're an extrovert, and it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to own it.
It almost feels like extrovert is a cuss word
now.
It's
not a cuss.
Extrovert.
No,
extrovert.
it's a good thing.
You need to take a chill pill. Extrovertedness is a gift.
It's a gift, and it's a great thing.
Introvertedness is a gift
equally
as well.
A gift.
There was a time we were all the way on the other side. Introverts were being, even when you were younger, introverts were being like talked down, bullied. That wasn't a good thing.
It was
but
bad.
But that doesn't mean that those who claim to be extrovert to be taking advantage of that. But now a culture where it's becoming extreme. So you're in a room of 25 people, and probably only 2 people were admit to be an extrovert.
I don't know why. I'm like shocked. Like, what's going on? If you're an extrovert, it's a great thing. And I think we're gonna go through a cycle again where very soon extrovert is gonna be cool. I promise you. It's culture is all about cycles. But I want to just touch on introvert.
There's a new term called ambivert.
But I want to touch about introvert. We've talked about extrovert, right? Being an extrovert is about how you get your energy externally. Being an introvert, and I can speak a lot to this because I feel like I'm the embodiment of introverts. People don't know that because of the kind of ministry you and I are involved in and what we do at church. But I feel like because of the ministry we are involved in, because of the way I serve and the job work I do and the interaction I have, I can confuse people. But what makes me an introvert, and I own this because this is how the Lord made me, my energy comes from being alone. Like after I have my 1 hour interaction, my gosh, I feel like someone just beat me up. I need to go away.
Like vampires just suck.
Like I feel like I was just sucked. But in the moment when I'm around,
even though you have so much energy, you talk, you engage people because you have to.
I engage.
But once you get home, you're like,
I have to get my energy
Don't
back.
talk to me. Kids,
stay
away from me.
It doesn't mean I don't love you guys. I love you, but I need some time. I feel like physically weak. And I feel like when I grew up, even my family did not fully understand that. I can tell you some things I've been called. I've been called lazy a lot. I've been called a lot of names, but the heavy one I remember is lazy. And I remember when I was younger, I had to tell myself, EJ, you're not lazy. You work hard. But people don't understand that after I work hard, I need to be alone.
Your goal is not to socialize.
I don't want to socialize. I want to be alone. I want my siblings, my family, loved ones to leave me alone for at least 30 minutes to 1 hour so I can just get more. And once I get the energy, I come back and I'm full of life. But that period when I'm full of life, they're like, how can you say you're an introvert? I'm like, because this interaction doesn't make me an extrovert. My source of energy is what makes me an introvert. And I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I do think the trajectory, there was a time it's cool to be an extrovert, then we're going to introvert. There's a new word called ambivert, which it's kind of like you're extrovert, but you have some introvertedness.
I don't agree with that, babe. I feel like ambiverts are those again. Let me take that back. You can be an ambivert. But the amount of ambiverts, I feel like it's been said for those extroverts who don't want to claim their extrovertedness.
Who don't want to own it.
They don't want to own it. And I feel like it's good to own it. That's just how the Lord, when you analyze yourself and you're like, this is how I act. And it's not because it's a behavior pattern. It's just how you feel. Your energy is drained. But your source of energy comes out when you're around people. Either of those spectrum, I feel like it's cool.
So now we're talking about extrovert, introvert, and all that stuff. So there was a change I even saw in myself, right? Prior to the pandemic and COVID, I was one of those people, or before the remote job becoming more acceptable in our culture today. I was one of those people that would go to the office or go to the work, and I'm like, oh, I love people. I gotta be in the office.
Yeah.
The idea of working remotely just did not make sense to me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, there's a need for interaction. There's a need to show up to work and interact with people. But when I had the opportunity, even before COVID, my work went into the hybrid mode. That was before COVID. It was interesting. Businesses started adapting. And at that point, I started realizing that, I actually don't want to be interacting with some people, but it's more of, I want to be interacting with specific people. I want to be able to select certain people. Yeah. But then I realized my goal is not to be around people. It's to be around people I'm comfortable with.
But that has not changed who you are from a personality perspective. Your source of energy is still being around people.
That's the point. So I'm getting there. That hasn't changed. But also in the world we're living in, where more people, whether willingly or unwillingly, are forced to work remotely, they're realizing that a part of themselves is becoming more comfortable with being able to work remotely. Though that doesn't mean that extrovertedness has disappeared or dissipated, but we were forced to adapt to a new model. Yeah. So that's also part of, and that also has impacted our culture. Because we're talking about less people going to the movies because now they can work the movies in the couch.
But can I say something though?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think that just means that COVID people, when I say COVID people, those...
COVID people.
No, I know, that was a bad...
COVID person. You are a COVID guy.
No. Like what I mean is that people, young ones, or those who started out their career during the COVID phase, right? Okay. And now they are growing up. It's been almost 4 years or more now, right? They haven't learned how to socialize in person. I think there is a challenge of some people who started working remotely from their first job is remote. Now they get anxious about
meeting people
one-on-one interaction in the office because they don't know how to. Like, all I have done has been online interaction. Now I'm going to be thrown in 8 hours. I'm seeing people. How am I going to handle it? That just means you need to learn how to have more formal, professional interactions. I think about Gen Zs. I love them.
Yeah.
But Gen Zs don't know how to have not all. A lot of Gen Zs don't know how to have professional interactions, because they've done it online. It's a challenge that it's not just me speaking. This is research and a lot of articles speaking.
Data,
it's because they started out their career online. There's a way of speech that is expected in a professional setting, but that doesn't, to bring it back to introvert, extrovert, that doesn't change your personality.
So now I can see the change in culture. You have a generation that grew up on the internet.
Yeah.
And not even Gen Zs, even prior to that, you have guys who play video games, and the interaction they have, they're caught up with the video games. Before, there was a sense of like, you have to interact.
In person, work, go outside, hang out.
Wherever. There was less of the internet or web. So the change in culture that we are seeing as well is because people are becoming attached to a lot of instruments. So that could be
social media.
That could be games, that could be phones, that could be social media.
Yep.
So there's a way to engage your mind, skipping the whole human interaction. So you can't even gauge. So really you can't fully gauge your source of energy because it's been redirected to something else.
You're not spending time around people enough. You don't even know. You think you are because you are constantly chatting or texting. You think you're interacting, but then they tell you to go outside and you're like, I don't know what to do with myself. That doesn't mean you are an introvert or you're an extrovert. It just means you have to learn how to interact with people. I was going to say that I find it interesting that in a lot of couples, you always find introvert married to an extrovert.
Yeah.
There's always one who is an introvert. Not always.
I'm just nursing to people.
Not always, but
I'm like, I don't know why two of you guys are married, but you're both the same people.
But not always, but oftentimes.
Yeah.
Also in friendships. I think about like, not you and I are a good example, but there are always a lot of people who are like, wow, I'm friends with this person. This is my best friend. And that best friend ends up being an opposite personality than you. I honestly believe in that statement, opposite attract.
Opposite attract, but extrovert comes in different form, right? As a couple, I would say I'm an extrovert, but I would also love to look to say from a perspective of extrovert and gentle, not quiet.
Yeah, gentle
and I
extrovert.
do think you're an introvert, but I don't think I would say gentle.
I'm not a gentle introvert.
So
I can't even accept that. I'm not. I can be gentle when I want to be, but
the external and internal forces that plays. Then sometimes people might confuse and think
I know
I'm an introvert, or it depends on what's in play and the situation.
If anybody thinks you are an introvert, they don't know you.
No,
they have no clue about who you are.
I could be an
Whoever
introvert.
thinks you're an introvert,
I would love to get some feedback.
Whoever thinks you're an introvert doesn't know anything about you. They probably just know you're a bus. Get on the bus. That's it.
Get on the bus, people. It's okay. I'm extrovert, and I'm not apologizing for that. And all my proud extroverted people as well.
Yeah.
Extrovert and proud, right?
Extroverts and proud.
All right. We're so excited that you guys are able to join this episode. I hope you guys enjoy. Have a good time as well. And all my extroverted people, keep riding on.
All my introverted people. Woo!
Introverted, lock yourself
it's cool to be
yourself in the same room if you're all introverted. and get on your phone together.
And text each other. And can't wait for the time to leave the room.